Welcome back, everybody. This is the third Sig Sauer video I've done here in a row. As I've stated in my previous videos, I'm swapping my firearm collection around to guns that I can shoot a little bit better or higher quality. And I think Sig Sauer is one of the highest quality firearms made out there. Some people complain about their price, but what you're getting at that price point is a much higher quality firearm. Function wise, it's going to be flawless in most cases, and every case that I've ever found, yeah, it's been flawless. The reason I have both the Sig P227 and the Sig P2022 on the table is so you can see how similar they are. The 2022 actually varies quite a few ways, but the most outstanding way it varies is in the price point. It's generally about half the price of a 227 or 220 or similar alloy framed traditional Sig Sauer firearm. This, of course, is poly framed on it. Still a hammer fired gun, still has the hammer decocker, still a single action, double action mechanism, but it has some interesting features that are above and beyond the alloy framed guns, besides price, that make it quite a value. One thing, this is not available in 45 ACP. As my favorite caliber, and that I have my 227, of course, is 45 ACP. This is also available in 9mm, and I believe 357 SIG. The magazine is even marked as such, so that you can use the same magazine on both calibers. Of course, the 357 SIG being just a neck down 40 Smith & Wesson. Now, I've never been a fan of the 40 Smith & Wesson beyond the point of my first firearm was a 40 Smith & Wesson, a Ruger P89 stainless steel. Same configuration, basically. A hammer-fired gun. It has a decocker also, but much more like a Beretta 92. It's a decocker and then goes into safe mode. My Beretta has been converted to the G decocker, where it returns to fire mode. And then you have the long double action pull for your first shot, single action for the remaining shots, unless you cock the hammer back, of course. You can see visually a few little differences. One main one is this is the slide lock. It also doubles as a takedown apparatus. You have to remove it, much like a 1911 or the Ruger. It was similar, that you have a lever you have to remove, and this is that way in the polymer frame. Now, despite it being a very lightweight firearm, it handles the 40 Smith & Wesson remarkably well. In fact, I can shoot this firearm more accurately than most any other firearm in my collection right now, with the exception being my 1911s with their superb triggers. And this one virtually has a 1911 style trigger pull on it. It is that good. Not quite as good. Hal has a little creep in it, but for an off-the-shelf $500 price range gun, right in the middle of where all the other polymer framed guns are, such as Glock or Smith & Wesson or any of those, you can't go wrong with it if you like the hammer fired mechanism, which I do. There's some other differences and a lot of similarities. Still has a full rail on the front. They do come with a plastic guide rod. This one, it's like an $8 or $10 upgrade to get a high quality stainless steel guide rod to put in it, which is what I did. Helpful with recoil management, a small amount, and I just don't like plastic on my guns, even though it is a plastic gun. It's just something I like to do personally, not only for aesthetics, but for peace of mind. It probably functions just fine. In fact, there may be some drawbacks to that, but that's neither here nor there. That's just what I prefer. Your mileage may vary. The takedown method is a little bit different on these, as I mentioned. You can see the protrusion on this side with that cutout. That is actually what you push on. I'll show you. There's one little trick you should follow to reassemble these. It's a simple matter of lining this notch up with the takedown lever, popping it out from the opposite side. My finger was on the opposite side. Then reaching around the camera to do this, pull this lever all the way out. Tech comes out, and we're ready to disassemble the gun. It's that easy. No pulling the trigger. It's not striker fired. Don't have to do any of that. You can see there's the stainless steel guide rod with its flat mainspring. Is where it's a coiled wire spring on the 227. Other than that, very typical setup on the slide, typical of most polymer framed striker fired guns. Not much difference there. Reassembly, of course, you just pull the guide rod out, and then it's not a captured spring, so watch that, and pull the barrel out, and you're completely field stripped. Now also, while we got it apart, you can see it does not have a full-length rail as the alloy frame guns do. It has the typical 4-rail system set up, very small rails. It doesn't seem to have hurt accuracy much on this gun. As I said, it's a very accurate gun, at least my example is. Alright, reassembly. One thing, once you have the slide reassembled, when you put this in, make sure you look through this little hole in here, your reassembly hole. As you cock it back, get the rear guide rods lined up there. As you cock it back, you can see that barrel link moving in there. Just as a 1911, you want to make sure you capture that barrel in it. If you push it all the way back, there's a chance you're going to lock up in the open position. Then you got to get a dowel, take the spring pressure off, hold the barrel up out of the way, and let the slide go forwards so you can get it done correctly. So simply locate that round hole in it. See, it's very easy to do. You see the barrel's back just a little ways. Drop in your lever. Now you're ready to go ahead and push it all the way back against that tough spring till the notches line up right there. Snap it into place and you're done. So it's not that big of a deal to do. You, of course, make certain it is empty. Before you do that, these are all pre-checked before the video takes place, so rest assured it is safe. And the decocker is a typical Sig decocker. It's kind of an odd decocker if you've never felt one. When you do decock, it tries to literally throw your thumb back off of because there's quite a bit of pressure on that decocker. It literally flips back up by itself very sternly. You can see the full-size trigger on it compared to the 227, which comes with this factory thin trigger. Don't like that so much. In fact, I may replace that. Fairly simple or inexpensive, not necessarily simple project to do, but one with enough gun experience so you can handle it. And the worst part is probably getting the grips off of these guns. You have to use a special tool, or in this case I just pried it open and then put wood shims under the old E2 grip and slid it off. That might be worthy of a different video. So there we have it. I think one of the best ergonomically and functioning and price-wise SIGs you can get. Fantastic location on all the controls. Some people have complained of riding this slide lock and not having the slide lock back on the last round because they have their thumb riding that when they're shooting. My smaller hands, even getting the gun up into the web of the hand like I like to do, you can see I'm well short of that. Everything just lines up just fine for me. Absolutely no problem. This does not have the Sig night sights, which helps the price come down a little bit. As this is not my home defense gun, this is more of a range gun for me, just something to go out and have fun with. The trigger pull on this gun is exceptional. In fact, it's much better than the 227. The double action trigger pull is like melted butter on a biscuit. It's just that smooth. That's just fantastic. Get the magazine out of there so we can demonstrate the reset now. It's that short. And then a little bit of take up there, and then a nice crisp, virtually zero creep, single action, very light trigger. I have not put a trigger scale on it. In fact, I got it right here. Let's go ahead and do that because I'm curious about what it feels. Very light, but we'll just do a quick single action pull here and see what we end up with for fun. I think it's probably heavier than what I imagined. Right at 4 pounds on that one, dead on 4 pounds, which to me is ideal for the trigger pull on it. On any firearm, I like to shoot for that 4 pound range. Again, just a teeny touch. We can focus up over 4 pounds there, virtually 4 pounds though. So for giggles, again, we have an empty gun. Verify that it is empty. And of course, this gun costs twice as much. Keep that in mind. And we ended up at just 5 1/4 pounds on that one. So you can see why I like that gun so much. Its trigger pull is dead on where I like it to be. Again, exactly the same point. So, what can I say about this gun? Except that it's the best bargain out there, and I would advise you to get one if you're in the market for a hammer-fired gun at that price point. Absolutely spectacular. So anyway, thanks for coming along, and we'll visit another polymer firearm, and then we're going to get back into the military surplus with a full collection on Grau rifles and some Mausers and some other ones that might be of interest to you Mil-Cert fans. So thanks for watching.